Hello, good people, and welcome to my podcast. If has power, and believe me, it does. You know, today we're going to have a young lady, an amazing young lady, that's going to talk to us about some things that so many people have been through. And you know what? A lot of people are going through right now. Her name is Deacquanita Renee, and she is an author of the book called Faith to Inspire, and it's talking about a journey from pain to purpose. Now, you guys, I want to tell you something. I wish I had had this book 48 years ago. I would have understood what was going on. But you know what? For such a time as this, God has people that basically do not mind telling you their testimony. And Miss Renee, she's one of them. So before I go any further, before I just usher her in, what I want to do is just tell you this. This podcast is here on the YouTube video and also on the podcast platform of your choice, whatever outlet that you use. If you are looking at the YouTube video, I'm just asking you, if you like it, please subscribe, because I have some different subjects that's going to be coming up, and also pass it on to other people. Because the thing is, you know, you never know how a story, how somebody's mess turned to message can help them, and maybe can even help you. So without further ado, I want to welcome Miss Renee. Hello, Renee.
Cheryl, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Thank you.
It's so good to have you. It really is. And I just thank you for just being able to share with us, because for what you're going to talk about, everything's in your book, but some questions I just want to ask you that I think is going to give people a different perspective about relationships. And so one of the questions I do want to ask you is this. And that first question is, what is the importance of loving yourself?
Wow, that's huge, Cheryl.
Yeah.
The way I see it is, you cannot give or receive love in a proper way until you love yourself. And what I found was, it's very easy for me to show love, to express love, to give love to others. And I think that a lot of us, especially as women, we're nurturers.
Right.
And so always in that giving posture. But how often do we take the time to love on ourselves? And what does that mean? What type of insecurities do we have that we keep pushed down? What kind of mask do we wear so that others don't know what we're going through? To me, those are forms of not loving yourself. And in order to live fully, even to do what God has called me to do, how can I know something that I don't experience for myself? So that, to me, is the importance of loving yourself. You have to be able to love yourself before you can give it or receive it in a proper, healthy way.
That's very good. Very good. What really stood out to Dee about that was, you know, a lot of times as women, we kind of like push our insecurities down. We have them, and sometimes we don't even acknowledge them, but they're there.
Yes.
You know, maybe something somebody has said to us or have done to us, or you know, it's so many different reasons. And for what you're saying is, if you don't know who you are and really how to love yourself, how can you love anybody else? You know, and a lot of times we just blame others for things that we have not taken care of in ourselves. You know, so thank you so much for that. Another question I have, you know, and I'm writing a book now, and it's going to be about women. Okay. But a lot of ways women are disrespecting themselves. Not just women of today, but women in the past. It's not the same talking about young people or anything like that. But in what way do you feel that women today are disrespecting themselves?
Disrespect for me can come in many forms. And like you say, we're not talking about a generational thing. We're not talking about what you're wearing or how you're dancing or anything. To me, disrespecting yourself is when you don't honor your own your core being. When you don't live in an authentic way, when you don't set proper boundaries. And of course, you know, book was a platform. I use my relationship, but it's not just romantic relationships. It's relationship with family. It's relationship with coworkers. It's relationship with anyone. And whenever you don't honor yourself and speak for yourself, you're making room for disrespect. And again, it's not about other people. Everything that I talk about, everything that I write about is internalized. I'm not responsible for someone disrespecting me. I'm responsible for allowing that to happen. So it's disrespect for me, and how we disrespect ourselves is when we don't honor ourselves, when we don't identify with who we are in our Christ self, that will happen to us that are disrespectful.
Right. Dee, you know, now I want to ask you something. How did you come about with this knowledge? Where did this come from? Girl, you know what I'm saying is this has to come from somewhere.
Well, of course, I think every good and perfect gift, the word says, is from the Lord. And so that's a broad perspective of it. But I've always been a people person. I've always liked the study of people. That's how I got into counseling and psychology, because I just like understanding how people tick. So a lot of it I've just gained over the years from my own personal experiences, what it is that I want for myself and what I want for others, as well as some of my formal training is where I picked up on some of it from. I've always, in my readings, it's always been self-help type books, empowerment, things of that. That's just what I naturally gravitate toward. I love people. At the end of the day, I love people. I want people to be happy. I want people to be healthy and whole. So that attracts me. I'm not a historian. I don't get into sci-fi. That's just not my, I love people. So that's what I focus on.
And then people will also realize that beyond the things that we've done for ourselves, you have that connection with Jesus Christ too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's that wisdom that you basically, between him and your experiences, because like I always tell people, you know, people the way they are is because of their frame of reference. But they have been exposed to or have not been exposed to. And that's why God said, don't judge nobody, because, you know, we don't know what nobody's been through, what they're going through. We don't even know what we're going to be dealing with.
Exactly. But the grace, nothing but the grace.
Nothing but the grace of God. That's I noticed too that in your book, you guys, I'm gonna tell you something, this book is awesome. I'm telling you. Okay. There's one main thing in there. If you get this book, you're gonna say, Miss Cheryl said that. Hey, check it out. But anyway, why are positive affirmations so important?
I say this all the time. Like, I'm fascinated with the brain. The brain is amazing. But on a certain level, it's kind of slow. And when I say that, what I mean is that it believes what you tell it. It's as simple as that.
So
it
true.
believes what you tell it. So speaking positive affirmations over yourself, even if you don't believe them, and I've been there, I've done that. I've spoke things over myself that I really deep down inside hadn't internalized. I just kept saying it and kept saying it and kept speaking it over myself. To eventually, I was able to walk into that. So affirmations, you have to speak life over yourself.
That's right.
Because yes, we all have a village. Some villages are larger than others, but you have to be able to speak it over yourself, because there were many things that I was told about me that were positive, that until I started saying them about me,
That's right. That's true.
that I was able to walk in them. They were compliments,
Right.
but until I internalized it.
That's
So
right.
that's why I am. And when you speak a confirmation, it's not I will, it's not I must, it's I am beautiful.
That's right.
I am powerful.
Right.
I am. You got to speak it now. You got to speak it into
That's right.
existence.
That's right. So good.
Love affirmations.
See, look at that glow. And you know what? You think about, one example comes up to me as well, is that people who have lost weight, lost a lot of weight, they still think that they are in this other, they're bigger than what they are, because they don't know, they don't realize it themselves. And then sometimes when you're speaking these affirmations though, it may not, you may not already have the tangible in your hand.
Absolutely.
But you have to go ahead and speak it, because see, the more you hear your voice speaking into you, it builds your belief system. And the next thing you know, it is happening. Now we're not, you guys, now we're not trying to say, this magnetic pull or nothing like that.
No magic being in a bottle. It's nothing like not Santa Claus, not none of that. It's just you, but you have to speak.
And things is not as though they are.
It's synonymous with gratitude. You gotta, because if you don't speak it, who will?
That's right. That's right.
And even if even if people speak life into you, if you're not in a space to receive it, it's really falling on deaf ears. You have to get over yourself.
That's true. And Dee, another thing that you said too, you saying that, people say it takes a village.
Yes.
But I didn't think of that until just now when you said it, because we done said it so many times. But we don't know who's in that village. It could be a village of people pouring into you, but who's in that village? And that's why you got to keep your circle tight.
Yes.
You got to know who's in your circle, who's in your village.
Absolutely.
And
that's important, who you allow in that circle, because who's in your circle is speaking over you.
They're speaking over you. That's right. That's right.
You can have many associates, but there's only such a small, tight group that you let into that inner circle.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, I have another one I want to ask you. It's 2 more questions I'm going to ask you. Then I want you to give a little snapshot of your book, and then where they can get your book and everything like that. Okay. How do you become, basically, how do you overcome being a prisoner of your own thoughts?
Oh, Lord. much prayer. Much prayer. And I think that for me, it was really digging into the word so that I knew the promises that he made for me. And even if I couldn't see them, I have a blind faith that he is there and that he's never going to go back on his word.
Right, right.
I can trust him. Even when I don't know or I can't see, I understand that he's already set a path for me. So for me, the way that I was able to come out of a dark place was just by holding on to that word when I couldn't hold on to anything else. That's all. True. And that went back to the affirmations. I had to speak his word over me. So it wasn't about who I said I was. It was who God says I am. And I had to just hold on to that.
And Dee, guess what I just thought about too? When you speak his word, you know what the word says? His word will not return to him void. In other words, you guys, it's going to do what it needs to do.
Yes, he has already set the path for us. His word tells us that before we were even knitted in our mother's womb, He
Uh-huh.
knew
Yeah,
he's
that's
already
right.
out. So when I was in a dark place, when I was covered in my closet, he knew I would be there, but
Right.
he also knew I was coming out.
That's right. That's right. He knows. That's right. He knows the end of the movie. He knows the end of the movie, and he
Yeah,
knows what's around the corner. So
absolutely.
here's our last question. Okay.
Mhm.
How does, oh wow, this is one of my things, I'm telling you, because we women, we deal with this all the time. People deal with this.
Yes.
How does emotions cloud our minds so we can't see reality? So we can't see red flags. So we can't see what's right in front of us. So let me let you answer that question. Okay.
Uh, Emotions are the clouds. Emotions themselves are the cloud of reality.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can, and you hear people say all the time, I'm in my feelings. Now I'm in my feelings. As soon as you get in your feelings, you disconnect from reality. Reality is not what you feel. Reality is based on a fact. You can have perception. So whenever you get caught up in your emotions, you start doing things that are irrational.
Right.
And it's really just that simple. It's not a rocket science to it. If you're in your feelings, you cannot function properly.
That's right.
To stop, take a breath, take a moment, and ask questions. A lot of times we get emotional about things that we perceive.
That's
They're
right.
not.
That's right.
Someone done something and it's scratched a little scab that we had. They may or may not even know they scratched the scab.
That's
And
right.
that's who we all in our feelings. And that's not what they meant.
That's right.
Emotions are important. You don't want to go through life unfeeling
Right.
or not sympathetic or not compassionate. The only time emotions really become a problem is when you act on them in an unhealthy way.
That's right.
And I speak as what I know is. I have acted in a very unhealthy way a few times
Yes.
based on my emotions. If I had just stopped, taken a moment, prayed, and listened,
That's
and
right.
listened, answer.
That's right.
And even just to the point that acknowledging that when you act out, especially in anger, it's going to lead to something. And
That's
it's
right.
typically sin. It's not going to be something good.
Right.
So emotions definitely affect how we walk through life, not only with other people, but with ourselves.
Right.
When I out of my emotion because someone has hurt my feelings or I feel disrespected, that's when I start again to dishonor myself.
That's right. I understand.
Because I'm allowing someone else into my space. I'm allowing someone to affect my peace, all based on an emotion. Emotions are fleeting. They come and they go. It's what you do with the emotion that creates the problem.
That's right. And just to add to that too, Dee, the enemy knows exactly what bothers you, what
Absolutely.
bothers me. He studies us, he knows us. And sometimes it's not easy to go the opposite way, but that's what we have to do when you can go the opposite way in your mind.
Yes.
And because sometimes it's a setup and just to see what's going to happen. And then once you go there, once those words are or those behaviors,
Absolutely.
it's done. You see what I'm saying? Then you have to go back and and see some things are long-term consequences as well. You see, because of emotions, and we are not our feelings. We're not our feelings, like that. They come and go. They're fleeting, as you said. They really are.
Yes, yes.
So, Dee, what I want to ask you is this: tell my audience the reason for your book and what the message that you want to get out about your book. Why do you think the world needs this book?
Faith to Inspire, Journey from Pain to Purpose. That's my baby.
Mhm.
And it's more of a memoir that kind of chronicles things that I was going through when I was in an unhealthy relationship.
Mhm.
I've always been a journaler, so a lot of it came from my journal entries.
Mhm.
The reason I wrote the book is because I know that nothing that I go through in life is just for me.
That's right.
I know that all of my experiences, the ups and the downs, God uses them to not only teach me and to not only grow my faith, but to share that experience with someone else.
That's right.
What use is it for me to learn a lesson and then hold it to myself?
Mhm.
So as a woman, knowing that we deal with a lot of self-doubt, a lot of insecurities, even though I was raised I have a legacy of very strong Christian faith, walking, talking, praying women that pour into me. But sometimes, because if you walk in faith, people think that you're not supposed to struggle with depression. You're not supposed to go through certain things in life. But that's true. So as a woman, I started to realize that as I was going through what I was going through, that someone else was going through the same thing.
Right.
And I wanted to share what I used to kind of bring me out.
Mhm.
Still a work in progress, still on a journey.
Uh-huh.
Share some of the tools from a faith-based perspective, from a mind body spirit perspective of how to maybe avoid an unhealthy relationship
Right.
or recover from one by knowing who you are in Christ. Because at the end of the day, for me, I know without a doubt, if I had just internalized and embraced all the things that I had been taught
Mhm.
from the women of my mother, my grandmother, my aunts, if I had just embraced those things that I learned in church that was spoke over my life,
Mhm.
there was just a lot of stuff I wouldn't have tolerated. Not just in this previous relationship, but in all of my relationships.
Yeah.
So it's really the book is about empowerment. It's about letting women know, no, I've been there, sis.
Yeah.
I've been right where you are. And don't be ashamed.
That
Just learn the lesson.
that's
Learn
right.
the lesson and move forward. So it's all about empowerment. It's all about fellowship.
Yeah.
I had to be very vulnerable to write this book. I had to be authentic and I had to be real.
Right.
Because people don't relate to someone saying, well, this is how you do this and this is how you do that.
Mm.
No, baby.
That's
This is what I did.
that's right.
That didn't work. I did this and it worked a whole lot better for me. So it's kind of like Faith to Inspire, a journey from pain to purpose.
That's your baby.
It's like, and it's like a hug to my sister girls. It's just saying, I got you because I've
Yeah.
been there. I don't have the answers for your particular situation,
Right.
but what I'm talking about in the book is generic. And I say it's for women. Anybody can read the book. And it's not an age thing. I was
It's not-
amazed when a 20-year-old related to the book. I was amazed when a 72-year-old related to the book.
Mhm.
So it's something that everyone can take something away from. It's
Yeah.
not the answers, it's not the solution,
Mm-mm.
but everything that I write about is in the Word of God.
Yes.
And so even when I was going through my situation, because I finished my book going through my situation, I was still in the midst of my journey.
Right.
But all the concepts were all there before I started. The Word of God changes. So it didn't change. I needed to change. So it's just, again, I know I'm going on about empowerment.
Yeah.
In the day, I just want my sister girls to honor themselves, embrace who they are, and walk in knowing
That's right.
I'm a child of God.
Yes.
I'm a child of God. Walk like one.
That's right. That's right. Right now, you guys, and this is coming. Because November I'll be 70, and I think I have a right to, I can say this. My book is going to be called The Rhythm of a Woman, Kingdom Style.
Yes.
And I love being a woman, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
but I want to
absolutely.
tell you something. We wear a lot of hats. We go through a lot of, as we talked about, emotions.
Yes.
And the reason why I said, I wish I had known about this book 48 years ago. I'm talking about my first marriage. This marriage here, 38 years. And hey, I'm using these principles. But that first marriage, this helps me to understand, why did I let it go for 2 years? So, you know, my advice is to all of you, whether you are just starting out in a serious relationship, just getting information, those who are in a relationship. And just like Dee said, I mean, it can be not just a relationship with your mate or, you know, but any boundaries. I mean, people are talking about gaslighting and all this kind of stuff today. They got all these different terms. Back in the day, we ain't have no terms like that. We ain't have no TikTok and all that kind of stuff. But like she said, God's word has already been there. Now, before she tell you where you can get this book, I'm going to say this. If you are not a part of the kingdom, and I'm talking about being connected, being a child of the kingdom and having a personal, not churchy stuff. I'm talking about a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. You need to think about it.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to tell you something. Time is not waiting for nobody. Yeah. Life is something else. So I had to do eye contact on that.
Yes, it is.
I had to say that.
Yes, it is. I agree.
But go ahead, Dee. Let them know where they can get this book at. This amazing book.
Okay, you can get it online at www.faith2inspire. So it's pretty much online at this point. And I only have the hard copy. Eventually I'll get around to maybe an ebook. I think I'll even do an audio book, but for now, I just have the online.
And what I'm going to have, Dee, is your information, the link and everything, you know, on both the podcast and on the YouTube video. Okay. Dee, I just want to thank you so much. Is there any if that you want to give if they do this, or a couple ifs that, you know, that you can think of?
A couple of ifs come to mind. If you have a dream, put it to paper. You will never accomplish any of your goals without writing them down.
Write the vision.
Notepad. Otherwise, it's just a dream. It's just a dream. And if you just lean and depend on God, all things are possible. No matter what you're going through, no matter how bad it is, no matter how bad you feel, if you just continue to hold on to God's unchanging word, it will get better.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dee. Thank you. You guys, I want to tell you something. The reason why I'm doing this, these YouTube videos, this podcast, is because of this. There's a quote that I just love. Okay. It's not a religious quote. It's not but it's just something I really like.
Yes.
A wise man learns from his mistakes, but a wiser man learns from the mistakes of others. Now, you got to have your own experiences, true enough. But guess what? If somebody's already putting it out there, don't go down that road. Use that energy for something else to reach that dream she's talking about. You know, so that's what it's all. We done been through. We still got to go through more stuff, and we just share it. So be blessed. Go ahead, Dee.
Said that because I used to tell my girls all the time, don't do what I did. And it's not about do as I say and not what I no. I was very open about mistakes that I had made and sharing experiences. This is what I learned from it. You do something different. So that quote is very powerful. It's very powerful.
Yes.
I wrote the book so that no one else will do what I did.
That's right. That's right.
One woman, find a better way, live a healthier life.
That's right.
My purpose is fulfilled.
That's what I'm talking about. Be blessed, my sister. Okay.
So much.
All right. Listen, my audience, like I said, if you like this video, just hit the like, hit that like button, and then you know what goes with it. Hit the subscribe button so others can see, and pass it on to somebody else, okay, so that they can see how to get this book. And so I got some other things that's going to be coming up. So be blessed and take care. And thank you for watching. Okay. Bye-bye.